Welcome, Shadow Seekers, to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're unearthing a tale that'll haunt your thoughts long after it ends. Whether you're glued to the screen or just listening in, you're in for a wild ride through history's darkest corners. If you're new, hit subscribe to join our mission of exposing America's hidden truths. Regulars, your likes fuel our journey into the unknown. Now, let's peel back the layers of time and reveal the secrets beneath. Ready? Let's begin. The 4-year-old sole survivor, Flight 255's miracle amid tragedy. Hello friends, you're watching American Shadows, and today we're delving into one of the deadliest aviation disasters in U.S. history, the crash of Northwest Airlines Flight 255. On August 16, 1987, a routine flight from Detroit to Phoenix turned into a tragedy that would reshape airline safety forever. What transforms a standard takeoff into a catastrophic event? How can a simple oversight lead to the loss of 156 lives? And why does this disaster from over 3 decades ago still resonate in the world of aviation today? Before we unravel this tragic tale, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you who support our work. Your likes, comments, and shares are the lifeblood of this channel, helping us bring these shadowy corners of history to light. Your engagement fuels our passion for storytelling, and we're truly grateful for each and every one of you. As we explore this powerful story, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a close call while traveling? How do you think disasters like Flight 255 have shaped our approach to safety in everyday life? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your perspectives add invaluable depth to these historical narratives. Now, let's step back to that fateful summer evening in 1987, when the skies above Detroit became the stage for a tragedy that would change aviation forever. Picture the bustling Detroit Metropolitan Airport on August 16, 1987. Families embarking on vacations, business people hurrying to make connections, and crew members preparing for their next flights. Among them were the 155 passengers and crew of Northwest Airlines, Flight 255, unaware that they were about to become part of one of the deadliest aviation disasters in U.S. history. As the sun began to set, Flight 255, a McDonnell Douglas MD-82, taxied towards runway 3C. The plane was bound for Phoenix, Arizona, with a scheduled stopover in Santa Ana, California. Captain John Mouse and First Officer David Dodds ran through their pre-flight checklist, or so they thought. At 8:46 p.m., Flight 255 began its takeoff roll. The engines roared to life, pushing the aircraft down the runway. But something was terribly wrong. As the plane lifted off, it immediately began to roll to the left. In the cockpit, alarms blared as the pilot struggled to control the aircraft. "We've lost control!" the captain might have shouted, his voice filled with panic and disbelief. Seconds later, the left wing clipped a light pole in the airport rental car lot. The impact sent the plane careening into a nearby building before it slammed into a freeway overpass. The resulting explosion lit up the night sky, the fireball visible for miles. In the chaotic aftermath, first responders rushed to the scene. The devastation was overwhelming. Amidst the twisted metal and flames, they made a miraculous discovery. A 4-year-old girl, Cecelia Cichan, had somehow survived the crash, still strapped in her seat. "We've got a survivor," a rescuer might have called out, his voice a mix of shock and hope. Cecelia would be the only survivor from the aircraft. The crash claimed the lives of 154 people on board and 2 on the ground, leaving a community in mourning and a nation demanding answers. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, immediately launched an investigation. What they uncovered was as simple as it was horrifying. The flight crew had failed to extend the plane's flaps and slats, crucial components for generating lift during takeoff. This oversight, combined with a non-functioning takeoff warning system, had sealed the fate of Flight 255. But how could such a critical error occur? The investigation revealed a series of missteps and distractions in the cockpit. The pilots had been engaged in non-essential conversation during taxi, violating the sterile cockpit rule. This distraction likely contributed to their failure to complete the pre-flight checklist properly. The crash of Flight 255 sent shockwaves through the aviation industry and the American public. It exposed glaring weaknesses in airline safety procedures and pilot training. In response, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, mandated sweeping changes that would reshape air travel safety protocols for generations to come. Airlines overhauled their checklist procedures, implementing more robust systems to ensure no critical steps are missed. The industry saw widespread adoption of the sterile cockpit rule, prohibiting non-essential activities during critical phases of flight. Manufacturers enhanced takeoff warning systems, adding layers of redundancy to prevent similar oversights. The tragedy also transformed how airlines approach crew resource management. Training programs were revamped to emphasize better communication and teamwork in the cockpit, recognizing that a breakdown in these areas can have catastrophic consequences. For the families of the victims, the crash of Flight 255 left an indelible mark. Their grief and advocacy efforts led to improvements in how airlines handle disasters and support survivors and victims' families. The Aviation Disaster Family Assistance Act of 1996 can trace its roots to tragedies like Flight 255, ensuring that families receive timely and compassionate support in the aftermath of air disasters. The sole survivor, Cecelia Cichan, became a symbol of both the horror of the tragedy and the resilience of the human spirit. Her survival against impossible odds captivated the nation and served as a poignant reminder of the lives lost and forever changed that day. Cecelia, who later took her adoptive family's surname and became Cecelia Crocker, has since become an advocate for airline safety and a voice for those who lost loved ones in air disasters. But amidst the tragedy, there were also stories of near misses and twists of fate. John Tranzo and his wife were originally booked on Flight 255, but missed their connection in Detroit due to a delay. Their misfortune turned into a blessing in disguise, sparing them from the tragic fate that befell their fellow passengers. Stories like these serve as stark reminders of how thin the line between life and death can sometimes be. Each year, on the anniversary of the crash, family members and the community gather at a memorial near the crash site in Romulus, Michigan. They remember those lost and reflect on the changes born from their tragedy. The memorial, a curved wall of black granite, bears the names of the victims and stands as a solemn reminder of the cost of complacency in aviation. Today, as millions of Americans take to the skies each day, few may realize the debt of gratitude they owe to the lessons learned from Flight 255. The tragedy serves as a somber reminder of the importance of vigilance, proper procedure, and the constant pursuit of safety in aviation. Every pre-flight safety demonstration, every meticulous check performed by pilots and ground crew carries within it the echoes of that fateful night in Detroit. As we reflect on the tragedy of Flight 255, we're confronted with uncomfortable questions about human error, technological reliability, and the price of complacency. How do we balance efficiency with safety in our increasingly fast-paced world? Can we ever truly eliminate human error, or is it an inevitable part of our existence? And how do we ensure that the hard-learned lessons of the past continue to inform our practices in the future? This is American Shadows, where we peer into the darker corners of our nation's past and present. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most important lessons come from our darkest moments. The echoes of Flight 255 continue to resonate today, reminding us that vigilance is the price of safety, in the skies and on the ground. As we go about our daily lives, let's take a moment to appreciate the unseen efforts that go into keeping us safe when we travel. The legacy of Flight 255 lives on in every pre-flight checklist, every safety demonstration, and every technological advancement in our aircraft. In understanding our past, we gain the wisdom to shape a safer future. Stay curious, stay safe, and keep watching American Shadows.